This episode is brought to you by Kia's first 3-row all-electric SUV, the Kia EV9, with available all-wheel drive and seating for up to 7 adults, with a 0 to 60 speed that thrills you 1 minute, and available reclining lounge seats that unwind you the next. Visit kia.com/EV9 to learn more. Ask your Kia dealer for availability. No system, no matter how advanced, can compensate for all driver error and or driving conditions. Always drive safely.
Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
Man, I really like this movie.
Hurricane Heist?
Like is strong.
This might have broken a record for a number of times I can fall asleep in a movie.
I have the note like halfway through. There's no way Amin has full notes.
Now they got full notes. They don't have full consciousness, man. Like I would just wake up for little scenes and then they just go back to sleep.
You viewed it in little vignettes.
Yeah, I don't know. It did. They had to have known they were making. It was just like made like Sharknado.
No, I mean this was a theater release. I saw it in the theater.
I remember when it was a theater. I remember when it came out, and I remember I think I remember tweeting you when I saw the first show of the trailer. Like, oh my god, Zach, we have to see this, or whatever. But as I'm watching it, like from the very beginning, I'm thinking to myself, nah, they knew they made it. This is all tongue in cheek. This is all tongue in cheek because you can't. From the very first word that child utters with that ridiculous fake accent. But yeah, I'm like, no, they're not serious.
I don't know, man. They put a lot of. It feels like they put more money into this than the budget would reveal. There's a lot of CGI.
That font getting fluttering away in the wind. Hurricane Andrew, 1992, and then it just flutters away. Like, that's not cheap, man. I'm just telling you right now, that's not on the budget.
That's I don't know, man. I think they did the best they could.
Why?
I really do. I think they did the best they could.
No, but why? No, the best they could do is not do it. That's the best.
You say they did the best they could. That's like if you're given an assignment with a deadline and you just turn it in.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they just turned it in.
But why was there this assignment?
This is like, you know how they say like people SATs that you bubble in your name, you get at least 200 points. It's
right.
Just by vote. It's like they did it and they got the name wrong. Like they failed to correctly fill out the bubbles.
Well, surprisingly, there's some inaccuracies in this movie.
Oh.
Which I did not know until I checked out a couple of things.
You know what the problem with Hollywood is? They make shit. Unbelievable, unremarkable shit.
So I was legitimately offended.
You were offended?
I was offended.
I didn't know you could get offended.
I was offended.
This did it.
I was absolutely offended.
They're fucking making shit up, I mean.
Inconsequential detail after inconsequential detail after inconsequential detail.
Bees don't lie.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm holding a mic in my hands, and now I'm talking all alone.
Welcome to Cinephobe, the podcast where we break down the movies you're afraid to admit you love. I'm Zach Harper. That's Amin Hassan. That's Anthony Mayes. This week on Cinephobe, the 2018 action disaster thriller Hurricane Heist, starring Maggie Grace, who you may remember has thrice been the daughter of Liam Neeson in the Taken franchise.
No way.
Yeah. She's on The Fear of the Walking Dead.
Hold on. This is my obligatory. Gotta say, she grew up.
That felt creepy.
Exactly what it was meant to be. It went down like that.
Oh boy.
Didn't know. I was like, oh.
Okay.
I'll always remember Maggie Grace as the supremely annoying Shannon on Lost.
Oh, that's right. She was on Lost.
Thank God they got her the fuck up out of there.
Woo.
Was she a child on Lost?
She was a bitchy teen.
Yeah.
All right.
She's almost my age.
Really?
She was born a year after me. She's 36.
And so she played like a teen? It was like
she was 25 years old and Taken.
Yeah.
But she played like a 14-year-old, right?
Right. Like a 16-year-old, something like that, yeah. Wow.
Every pedophile's dream, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's one way of putting it. She also was coming off a movie called Aftermath, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, and was about to be in a movie, something called Supercon, which is about, like, I guess, comic book artists trying to steal something.
I thought you were Supercon, which is about people getting money to make terrible movies.
It was a documentary on the makers of Hurricane Heist.
Yeah, exactly.
Also stars Toby Kebbell.
I like him.
Who was Koba in War of the Planet of the Apes?
Yeah.
Really?
He did all the mocap for it, yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like
and then Australian Ryan Quanten.
True Blood. Playing the exact same character as True Blood.
Yeah. and was also in Supercon. How about that?
Who was in True Blood?
He's the brother. He's Sookie's brother.
Where is he in the movie?
He's Breeze.
No way, dude. The problem is a lot of these characters, when I was awake, were always in like moments of duress.
Oh, movies moments of duress. It's a Cat 5 hurricane.
Dark and it's windy and stuff, so I can't really make people's faces out.
Yeah, you were definitely half asleep when you watched this movie. It's like 7 people in the movie.
Yeah, and Toby Kebbell is in my favorite episode of Black Mirror, which is the entire history of
is that the one with is that the one with like the eye?
The grain, that you plug into your brain.
Yeah, I like that. This movie was written by Scott Windhauser, who helped write Vengeance, a love story starring Nicolas Cage, was also a staff assistant on Pearl Harbor, the movie, not the disaster.
So this dude is like a track record of being involved in shitty projects?
And then, actually, hold on, Pearl Harbor is a good movie. And then it was also written by Jeff Dixon, whose other writing credit is Zombies, a video game on Xbox Fitness. What? And he's also produced nearly a dozen workout videos, according to his IMDb page. We also get story by credits from Anthony Fingleton and Carlos Davis, who both wrote the movie Drop Dead Fred.
I never watched Drop Dead Fred, but that was supposed to be good, right?
That's aggressive. I wouldn't say it's good. It's one of those movies that as a kid you watch and you love, and then when you watch it as an adult, you're like, wow, this is real fucked up.
This is the weird thing about like when you listen to the resumes of these people, like this is what tells you that like Hollywood really is about who you know, because there's no way anyone could be involved in that many failures, and then like in 2018 they're like, you know what, I think I like this one.
I will say this: there are a lot of people involved in this movie that haven't done a whole lot since.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's either they got it right and decided to quit, or maybe they got it wrong and it didn't work out. This movie was also directed by Rob Cohen, who has directed Dragonheart, Daylight, The Skulls, Triple X, Stealth, and the first Fast and Furious movie. So you know he understands action real well.
Well, they definitely had like moments that were very Fast and Furious-esque.
Yeah.
And don't forget the third Mummy movie, Dragon Emperor.
Well, that is definitely going to come up in this movie because it is.
We have an overlap that we have to address.
We do.
Do they exist in the same cinematic universe or something?
Based on how that storm was acting, I say yes. I think so. The synopsis for Hurricane Heist Thieves attempt a massive heist against the U.S. Treasury as a Category 5 hurricane approaches one of its mint facilities. The tagline, on March 9th, make it rain.
Yes, I remember that.
$35 million budget. Grossed $6.1 million in the U.S., $32.5 million worldwide.
Wow.
We're in the black. What are we complaining about?
No, it came short.
You said 32.
The budget was 35. It grossed 32.
32 overseas and 6 domestic.
Oh, worldwide doesn't count all that?
No, maybe not. I don't know.
Maze, do we know this? I assumed worldwide counted the U.S., but I could be wrong about that.
You combine them.
Oh, you combine them?
Yeah.
All right, we're in the black. We're good, baby.
Yeah.
Like, what they were complaining? What y'all so mad about, man? You gave me 35. I gave you $40 million or $38 million.
Good investment.
Yeah.
Before listening to the rest of this podcast, obviously very spoiler heavy. Hurricane Heist is available on Netflix, or you can rent it if you don't have Netflix. Rotten Tomatoes, 45% from critics.
I was so shocked it was that high.
On 55 reviews, 24% from the audience on only 780 reviews. Nobody has seen this movie.
You know what the funny thing is? When I saw the score, I was like, maybe it's not half bad. Maybe it's just kind of like hokey, but like on some level has some version of kind of entertainment to it. And as I'm watching, I'm like, no, the critics. I don't know why the critics felt the need to go easy on this one.
Also, a lot of the reviews were in Spanish.
Ay, Dios mío.
So let's get into, do we want the good reviews or the bad reviews first?
Bueno, por favor.
Okay. Alan Adams of The Main Edge. Think the 1998 Christian Slater Morgan Freeman movie Hard Rain, only turned up to 11 and completely unconcerned with plausibility, physics, or any other laws of nature.
Well, why would you go to Hard Rain and not go to Twister?
Well, because Hard Rain, there's a heist and a flood.
Oh, there's no heist in Twister.
No, Twister, there's no heist. Yeah, so you only get one of the elements. Sean Mulvihill of FanboyNation.com. How much you'll be entertained by the hurricane heist can be surmised by your reaction to the title. That's accurate. That is an accurate.
That counts as a positive review.
It did on Rotten Tomatoes. Ben Travis of Empire Magazine. Like the sound of a film called Hurricane Heist? Then you'll probably enjoy Hurricane Heist.
Okay, so now I'm beginning to think that like Rotten Tomatoes has a very Source magazine scandal going on, where like these 5 mics are not given out like as judiciously as the public believes, because these sound like they're shitting on people
right
who like Hurricane Heist.
Well, it does also come with a score. Like if they give it a 3 out of 4, I think that helps create it. But Marianne Johansson of Flick Philosopher, a peanut butter in my chocolate movie.
Okay.
This Die Hard meets Twister monster is so ludicrous it comes all the way back around to being awesome and hilarious.
There were times where I laughed, although I don't believe that was the intention of that. But I don't know. Awesome was never a feeling I had. And also, Flick Philosopher.
Flick Philosopher and philosopher spelled with an F.
Oh, that you call me creepy.
All right, the bad reviews. Louisa Moore of Screen Zealots. It's even worse than the worst Sci-Fi Channel original movie. It makes Geostorm look like Citizen Kane.
I haven't seen Geostorm, but that is a very that's what I would say. It
Geostorm
looks like a sci-fi channel, just fucking abomination.
Yeah,
Geostorm's
not great. Not a great movie. Alcy Rengifo of Entertainment Voice. The hurricane itself delivers, but the story is left empty-handed. I do like the idea of saying, yeah, that hurricane looked like a hurricane.
I did have some scenes.
James Marsh of South China Morning Post. To call Hurricane Heist a disaster seems unfair to inclement weather. It just blows. Bilge Ebirl of Village Voice. It's like the filmmakers went into the Die Hard store, stretched out their arms, rolled their eyes back, and bellowed, "Give me everything!"
That's great.
Andrew Barker of Variety. If our divided country can't come together over a movie this wonderfully terrible, what hope do we really have? Mike McGragnahan of Aisle Seat. The problem with the Hurricane Heist is not that it's stupid. The problem is that it's not stupid enough. And then Roger Moore of Movie Nation. Last one. Roger Moore of Movie Nation. An utter excrement storm from start to finish with zero laughs, intentional or unintentional to boot. I disagree.
Yeah, I look 007. That dude was like, I was born to review movies. My name is Roger Moore. Or maybe it's actually Roger Moore. Which one do you think it is?
I think it's the real Roger Moore.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
does in his spare time now.
What were you guys' initial thoughts going into it?
For me, I just said Twister meets Fast and the Furious, especially when I saw that it was Rob Cohen.
Yeah. Amin?
I saw the score, and you're talking about before I actually watched it, right?
Yeah, before you watched.
I saw the score, and I said, you know what? It might be like just like a very basic heist movie, like. So I'm like, I wouldn't, and then like with some CGI to it. So I'm like, all right, I'm like a very poor man's Italian Job. And by the way, Italian Job. Finally saw it. I don't know why everyone was on that movie's dick when it came out, man.
It's fine.
Oh,
like it's not, but it's not. No, I'm saying it's not a great movie, but it's a fine movie. If I never watched it again, I'd be fine. I think it's one of the rare movies, one of the rare action movies where the audience is basically like half of what the critics think. I can't imagine there are a lot of those.
A bad movie where somehow the critics liked it more than the audience did?
Yeah, I like comedies I could see maybe, but for like an action movie, like I just that seems rare to me. But we could jump right into it. We start off in Gulfport, Alabama, 1992. The worst Southern accents this side of Con Air.
Oh my God.
I mean, these kids, Jesus.
Are we that hard up on finding a couple of kids with Southern accents?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, in this movie, almost everyone in this movie is from either the UK or Australia.
Well, Ryan Kwanten had a lot of practice on True Blood.
Yeah, still shitty at it, by the way. He's still shitty at it, by the way.
My thing is this. It's like, for those, these are the actors that we could afford. That's what we could get. And this is the guy, like, for whatever reason, these are the people that were attached to the project. It's an actual role with a lot of speaking, a lot of camera time. This opening scene, it's a flashback scene with two little kids. You could get, and by the way, two little kids who are horrible actors.
Right, horrible.
That's like, if you wanted two horrible acting kids with Southern accents, I feel like you could get them off the street.
Now, does it feel like maybe they knew the adult versions weren't good actors, so they felt the need to match that?
Perhaps.
It's possible.
A pretty good explanation.
Yeah, so these two boys and their dad are driving away from a hurricane. Dad tells them to practice their football plays. A tree falls, runs them off the road.
Which, by the way, doesn't make any sense. When it says, come on, stop by. Practice your football plays. I'm like, they're in a car. How are they going to practice the plays?
So tree falls, it runs them off the road. The dad gets the kids inside some shitty house that I wrote that definitely won't survive the hurricane. He goes to anchor the tow truck. The younger son keeps blaming the older son. The hurricane hits.
Hold on. First of all, they both immediately run to the window. And aren't you supposed to get away from windows during a hurricane?
You are, unless you're going to board them up. I do think you're supposed to get away from the windows. The dad gets run over by a runaway water tower.
Yeah, literally as I was typing, he's definitely going to die. He died.
This movie knows it's funny, right? I laughed at how the dad died. I really did. I like when I saw the thing rolling and I saw that, I was like, please let it hit him. Please let it hit him. And when it like just rolled right over him, I fucking died laughing. Like,
yeah, it's a funny death, man. It's a funny death. Like the idea, he couldn't just get crushed. It's a water tower had to fall and then just roll over him.
And by the way, like the only way it could have been funnier is if, as it rolled away, a flattened version of himself was stuck on it, just rotating away with it.
Well, it wouldn't have been the most cartoonish thing that they could have done, because the next thing you know, this house is destroyed. The kids are looking through a roofless house at the sky. A skull appears in the clouds and roars at them.
Yeah, I I said, I just watched Ghostbusters with my kids the other day, like the original one, and I was like, it's like, is this like the scene in the beginning with the librarian?
I wrote the note. Do we have a sentient storm situation happening here? Cue opening credits. We've got a lot of weather jargon going on.
The house was lifted up. Am I the only one who saw the house actually begin to, like Wizard of Oz style, get picked up?
Yeah, it absolutely did.
Okay. Seems unnecessary, but
a lot of it seems unnecessary. We cut to present day. We're at a National Weather Center or some shit. There's a lot of weather jargon going on. The storm talk. We get to present day Will, who the kid grew up to. Yeah, storm chaser. Kid grew up to still have a horrendous accent. I said it's borderline distracting. He's tasked with getting drones in the air to measure the storm. The hurricane's coming, and sheriffs are preparing for looters and evacuations of the town.
The sheriff's speech was next level, like awful acting.
It's real bad.
25 years ago, Hurricane Andrew laid waste to this town. And now Tammy's here to do it all over again. But this time, no one's gonna die.
Yes, sir.
That's why I called a mandatory evac.
We got this, Chief.
Okay, now once every last car makes it out of town, the assigned officers to make sure them roadblocks are set up. I don't want any looters slipping back into town. Not on my watch.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now head out.
I think that it's Rob Cohen making a cameo in his own movie as the dude who doesn't want to evacuate.
Oh my God, what was that conversation? This doesn't look like much, Sheriff. Now, you be a good citizen now, you hear? Fucking Foghorn Leghorn.
So they're trying to get everyone out of this shithole town. There's pandemonium with people trying to flee. Part of it, there's like a backup on a road. The people coming in are in 3 big green semi-trucks with cargo. And we get introduced to Maggie Grace, who plays Casey, and this Irish dude that plays Connor Perkins. They have a little conversation. Apparently something happened in Utah. Oh wait, no, that's not yet. I skipped a note. They're trying to get around the road, and so her way of doing this is not like have the 3 trucks back up a little bit so they can go off road. She just plows through cars.
And so at this stage, like when they're in the trucks, first of all, they don't explain to us who these people are at all.
Right.
They're sitting there and they're talking about like, yeah, these deliveries and da-da-da, and like little jokes and everything. And so I'm like, wait, are they really like regular delivery people, or are they like they're the fucking criminals? And so when she does that, I'm like, oh shit, these are the bad guys. Because only a bad guy would fucking, again, people evacuating because of a hurricane about to hit. She plowed into them with an 18-wheeler.
Right.
You're a federal employee. What the fuck are you thinking?
I mean, I did write the note. She's a villain.
Yeah, there's only because that's not the behavior of a regular person, right? Like,
right.
So then they go to the field and they go to like this installation, and again, they don't give us a sign that says big thing like U.S. Mint or anything. It's just some military installation. I'm like, whoa, what kind of bad guy shit is going on down here, right? Then they walk in and there's stacks of money, and I hate the smell of money. And I'm like, okay, old money's like how many G-strings, and they do that little speech, and I'm still thinking like, wow, like this is a huge drug drug money laundering fucking scheme or whatever. If only turn confetti. I'm like, okay, I'd like go into a strip club to make it rain. Like, why is it? Like, it took me so long to realize, no, these are government employees.
Yeah.
Or, well, by the way, I just remembered where they stole all this from. Dead presidents.
Oh, 100%. Big time ripoff of Dead Presidents. We do get cut back to Will, who's putting those drones out there to measure stuff. And I wrote the note: are drones still a big deal? It feels like the craze is crested, but I've also never flown a drone, so I don't know if I'm missing out. And I'm not a part of the drone world.
No, the craze is
they're big for filmmaking. I know that.
Yeah, well, not only filmmaking, but also like weddings and like any type of like cool shots of whatever, of aerial shots. There are drones everywhere, man. These drones are out of control. I've never flown one either, but I'm kind of thinking I'd love to fly one, but also I'm worried that I would crash it and it would cost a lot of money. So I'm kind of like, I'm good on that. But the main thing about that scene is he actually talks to the hurricane.
They're underestimating you.
Yeah.
He can also smell how bad it's going to be.
Yeah, he can smell that it's not just a Cat 2. That thing's going to be a Cat 4, Cat 5.
Now you still there? I got them launched. You get the readings?
Yeah, they're in sync. Well, stick around. It's only going to be a Cat 2. Get some new measurements. You're sitting in a tank, for Christ's sakes.
No thanks. You're underestimating her. I can smell it.
Yeah. While you're smelling it, we're reading it from carefully calibrated scientific instruments.
The cumulus is spiraling inward at a crazy rate. Millibar's 985. You ever seen a millibar dive that quick?
Not consistent with our projections.
Damn your projections. I'm telling you, this one's gonna be off the scale, trust me.
Dinner at the Crab Shack gets higher than a 2.
Now stop thinking about your stomach and your government expense account that's gonna pay for it. You should get the National Guard down here before it's too late.
I respect you, Will. You're a first-rate meteorologist. But I can't just traipse into the president's office and offer up your gut now, can I?
His car is pretty dope, though. I gotta admit, it's a pretty awesome-looking vehicle.
So this is what I wrote. He's driving the Batmobile. Yeah, my theory is they rented the Batmobile on a great rate, but the condition was they couldn't do a superhero movie with it. So they tried to figure out what a disaster could it withstand, and they came up with a hurricane.
Yeah, I mean, look,
that's my theory.
You get the opportunity to use the Batmobile, man. You got to use the Batmobile. The other thing also is, I was like, this is very Kevin Durant versus Matt Moore conversation here. Like, the analytics and the projections and the model are damn your models. I can smell it.
Yeah, he knows more than the ratings in the government system. He can smell it. So that led to this exchange. So the guy says, I've never met anyone so afraid of the thing they're so fascinated by. And he said, I got a few contradictions, but so do you, like eating candy bars on a straight diet.
And the guy throws the candy bar away.
Throws a candy. He's like, you're right, and throws a candy bar away.
What are you fucking this guy? Or something? You got to feel so self-conscious about being called out about what you're eating? Fuck you. I'll eat what the fuck I want.
So they're unloading old money to be destroyed at the Department of Treasury. The old money's getting shredded. I then asked, is this how things work? I had no idea this is how things work. So I looked it up. From the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, shredded currency is available through the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. You can buy small amounts as prepackaged novelty souvenirs. They're available for sale in Washington, D.C. and Fort Worth visitor centers.
They sell shredded money?
They sell shredded money. Larger amounts of shredded currency for use in artistic or commercial purposes will need to be obtained from a Federal Reserve Bank, and written approval from the Chief Office of Compliance is required before a Federal Reserve Bank will consider honoring currency residue requests. Treasury approval will be based on the following requirements, and it's a bunch of requirements. But yeah, so I learned something.
I'm stupefied at that. That's one of the most American things I can think of.
Yeah, we're gonna shred money and sell it to you. Casey is FaceTiming with a soldier. We find out they're shredding $600 million, and he says they have a little bit of like a back and forth, and he says, I went to bat for you after Utah. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have a job. She says she made a bad call, and nobody can punish her like she does. And they put a new code through an iPad to the bank vault.
Yeah, like the fact that it was an iPad also threw me off.
Yeah, like I've got an iPad. I think I have that version of the iPad.
Yeah,
I can fit maybe 3 movies on there.
I guess I'm not talking about like the iPad as a device itself, but the fact that it was like the Apple OS, like I could see like the mail icon.
Right.
Like, wait a second. U.S. Treasury uses like a goddamn regular iPad.
Yeah. Will calls his brother Breeze and goes and tries to convince him to leave before the storm hits. We're introduced to some evil hackers. The power is being hacked. The phones are down. There's no cell service. Casey has to go find the repair shop that Breeze works at to have him work on the generator. And so she hides the iPad in shredded money. He's a repairman, I guess.
This is just something that had to happen for the plot, but why the fuck is a local tow truck driver in charge of a backup generator at a government facility?
Well, it's Gulfport, Alabama.
So working on cars is the same as working on like a huge generator?
Yeah, I think so. They're all engines.
Just lube it up.
Yeah, just lube it up. Will arrives in the Batmobile. Breeze is asleep in the shop. Breeze has a drinking problem.
Does he put instant coffee into bourbon?
Yes, he does. He also has women's underwear from someone named Jaguar. When he said what I was hoping for, is when he said, what was her name? He said Jaguar. I was hoping he would say Jaguar. I was hoping to correct it.
I thought about Rick and Morty.
You can stay dead to the world and die in this room, or you can kill a pickle for me and earn your freedom.
There is no freedom while your leader breathes. Our country is a prison.
Then Katerina is a prisoner. Perhaps I could arrange her escape as well. She lives, Jaguar.
Where is this pickle?
Oh, Jaguar. What if he had saved this whole thing and then just gave the little head nod and like flew away on the gliders? These two really don't want to talk about their dad getting killed, but they call out a football play. I wrote, memories. Great time. A suspicious white van breaks in. They tranquilize all the soldiers. I asked the question, Maze, do tranq darts work that quickly? Because it's instant.
I was trying to figure out what the fuck kind of technology they have here. It seemed like a taser bullet. Like, I thought maybe it was an electric shock.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. Maybe.
That'd be cool.
They had.
Ridiculously effective. No idea where they got it. Silent. Just keeps people immediately out. It's pretty perfect if you're pulling off a heist like this.
Absolutely. We find out Perkins, the Irish guy, is in on it. He tranks them from the inside. He kisses the woman Jackie, which is spelled Jaqi, from the van. The evil hackers get everybody into the office, where the male evil hacker says, "Open Sesame" is something I've loved since Babar. I don't know why we had the Babar shout out. You missed that too?
I missed that, but
man.
You know what they just did?
What?
Or I don't know if it's on purpose or not. Again, but they just fucked up even Alibaba. Babar instead.
Maybe. It's possible. I put the note, this acting isn't great. The dialogue isn't great. Amin's not going to stay awake through this whole thing.
Oh, sure enough, I was not awake for that part.
We find out the hackers screwed up the shredder weeks ago, which is out of commission. I've also said this is the worst actress I've ever seen. I think she's wearing a retainer, and she's also wearing a cocktail dress to hack.
Hey, you know what, man?
I started looking into her stuff a little bit, and she's on the cover of Bella magazine at one point, and it says Melissa Bologna, that's her name, Hollywood's new breed of actress.
Terrible. The new breed. Being good at it.
I mean, she is legitimately the worst actress I've ever seen. She can't deliver anything. She's really bad. I wrote, Casey has found the accent boys. Breeze is going to help with the generator. He says to Will he's going to see him in another 5 years. I wrote the note, Will is from England. Breeze is from Australia. Hackers can't get into the vault. They figure out that Casey changed the code. I wrote, this woman really can't deliver a single line without sounding like she's going to drool mid-sentence. It's very distracting. We find out Casey gets ambushed. Now this is a great moment. So they drive back to the facility. It's a setup. Breeze takes the car. He kind of drifts around, gets her safe, gets her in the car. And so the door on the car is open, right, as she gets in. And instead of reaching out to pull it, which could have exposed her, she just kicks the door open more and it pops back and closes. That's a great move. We should see that more in movies. Did you guys you weren't impressed by this?
Must have slipped by me. So she gets in and she kicks it out and it swings back shut.
Yeah, she kicks the door open even more and then it swings back shut. I just think it was a great move. Amin, you were asleep?
I was asleep.
All right. Breeze gets caught after he crashes the car trying to escape. Casey runs to a church. Will arrives in the Batmobile. He drives her away. They want to go save Breeze. Are you awake at this point?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm in the car again.
All right. I wrote the note, these accents are what the rest of the world thinks we sound like.
Yeah.
Somehow we've offended ourselves with this movie.
These Americans.
These Americans. The bad guys leave Breeze by himself at the generator near the kidnapped soldiers, and I wrote, seems like a plot hole to me. Why would you just leave him by himself? And also, there's a note here that I got from IMDb. When Breeze is brought in to fix the backup generator, the machine is spelled generator. They misspelled generator on the machine.
Again, like, is it on? Do they mean to do that? Is this all one like elaborate performance art comedy?
Yeah.
And we're just like taking this shit way too seriously, or are they just really shitty at making movies?
So then, this is where I got a little mad at the movie. The sheriff is speaking now, and so I looked up because his accent's really bad. He's from the UK as well, and I wrote the note they couldn't get any fucking Southern actors for this movie. Then we find out the sheriff's in on it. He pulls a shotgun on him.
Oh yeah, I remember this scene.
They
like, there's like the whole exchange, like where he says, "Hey, Will, I thought I told you guys to, evacuate." It's like, yeah. I guess you didn't listen to your own advice, Sheriff. I was like, wait, what? Like, that's not how that works.
So they escape. We're in a car chase. She's shooting bullets. I love this exchange. I really do.
On the house. What? I'm out of bullets. Why'd that happen? I shot them all.
Here's what I always like to believe. That somewhere, somehow, someone thought of that scene first. Like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if someone's driving and someone's shooting, but we never see them run out of bullets. And then, like, in this one, we always see it all the time and never run out of bullets. But now, this one runs out of bullets. I'm out. Out of what? Out of bullets. Well, how'd that happen? I shot them all. Ha ha ha. Funny, right? What if we had a whole movie based on that scene right there? Just fucking like, just throw everything together. It doesn't matter. I just need to have that be in movie history, because that's the type of scene in a good movie we think was.
Oh yeah,
funny.
you can imagine The Rock and Jason Statham having that exchange, and everyone loves it, right?
Well, no, it's The Rock and Kevin Hart. And Kevin Hart's driving, and he's
right, yeah,
because he's a fish out of water on this
right.
one. Like, what are we out of? Bullets. How'd that happen? I shot them all.
So he gets the car chasing them to ram the Batmobile. It goes flying away.
Wait, yes. Like, this was legitimately, I was like, are there cars that can do this?
So yeah, it plants in, right? It plants into the ground so it won't blow away.
Says, fasten my harness. As by the way, he drives like, you ever had like a little kid sit in the driver's seat?
Yeah.
Pretend to drive. Now they just like do the wheel back and forth. Like, he drives like that, and then he says, you put him on my harness, which I thought was just like a slick way to get him to touch his dick. Oh yeah, that's a good.
Oh,
one.
You thought he was?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, why not? And then he's like, now put on your harness. Do you trust me? What? Do you trust? I was like, why does it matter? You about to do this shit. Just tell her, hey man, brace for impact. Then let's go. But no, he hits a button. He stops the car, he hits a button, and the button has these hooks under the car.
Yeah, these little stands that plant into the ground, right?
Yeah. Which is, there can't be real technology.
I mean, it's well, of course it's not. It's the Batmobile.
So he does that and just stops in the middle of the street. The car that was chasing, which is, by the way, like a Dodge Stratus, right?
Right.
I drive a Dodge Stratus!
The car of the 90s right there. Like, rams right into them because
goes flying off.
Goes flying, and because they're anchored, nothing happens. She pops her door open, goes, and steals the guns from the other
car.
The
guns, steals the walkie-talkie so they can listen in. We find out the sheriff's broken his arm. Breeze is back to the generator room. Breeze is trying to pick the lock while pretending to drink on the job to disarm Perkins. Casey and Will realize there's a dedicated line for the hackers to link. So they want to know why, they figure out they gotta pull this thing down. She also wants to,
by the way, you want to know how like not paying attention / asleep I was in this movie? I didn't realize there were hackers. Like, I kept trying to, like, they kept.
You didn't know the two oddly placed people were hackers? The British guy and the.
I just thought they were weirdos.
And the girl? Okay. Interesting. Yeah, they're hackers, man.
I never knew that there was a hacker involved. Like,
yeah. They've been hacking this whole time for weeks. She wants to know why Will isn't a meteorologist in a TV studio. He starts talking about climate change. I wrote this is a climate change movie. Will thinks there's a way to figure out how to stop hurricanes from ever happening.
Yeah, I love that. And he's got a PhD in synoptic meteorology.
They both seen death in front of their eyes with people they love. We find out the Utah thing was that she got someone killed with a bad decision, but they never get into it. They're just a bunch of Debbie Downers, but they bond over it.
This is where I wrote, which brother is Corbin going to hook up with, the sensitive meteorologist or the horn dog tow truck repairman? And I was wondering that the whole rest of the movie.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I wrote the note, man, we're not even halfway through this movie. So it did feel a little long at times. They're going to bring down to the tower. Will's accent is upsetting. It's currently a Category 4 hurricane. He almost gets blown off the tower by the wind. The bad guys notice her screwing up the lights when they drive by, so they come. They're having a little gunfight. Casey kills Jackie, the woman that kissed Perkins. Jackie then drives into a gas station. We have an unnecessary explosion.
Yeah, massive explosion.
Massive explosion. By the way, apparently this was one of the goofs on the movie. When a large explosion occurs downtown during the height of the hurricane, the resulting smoke doesn't move in any direction but lazily upward, despite the very high winds that just seconds before caused a man to be blown sideways while holding onto a cell tower.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Not bad. Yeah. Second plot hole right there. Then I wrote the note, how do bullets fly in a hurricane? Because they've got to be affected by it.
Oh, wow. That's a good point.
There's something that's coming up that talks about the wind. So
I started looking it up, and it's a lot of science, but I recommend looking it up.
I thought you were going to recommend shooting guns in a hurricane.
It was the whole thing, like back in 2017, there was that whole like, please don't, like they were saying, don't shoot guns at a hurricane in Florida. Mm-hmm. Remember there was that note?
Yeah.
But yeah, it does sound like it will definitely affect it. And actually, did you know if you shoot a bullet straight up in the air, when it comes down, it's going to travel about 150 miles per hour.
Is that faster or slower?
That's what I was trying to figure out. But it says it's fast enough to hurt or kill someone.
Yeah, it's not as fast as coming out of a gun, but whenever people randomly shoot into the sky, it's never a good thing.
I've always wondered about that.
Yeah.
What happens to those bullets?
But yeah, there's a fascinating article on inverse.com that I highly recommend. Before the sexy hackers can get the new vault code, they pull down the tower, disrupting them from getting that. And then I wrote, the greatest realization in movie history happens. And I can't stress enough how much I love this. A car almost takes Will out as it comes tumbling by the hurricane that he's just walking through. But it lifted that car off the ground. The hubcaps come off the car and go flying through the air like Frisbees. He then realizes, oh shit, I can use these as weapons. He tells Casey to untether them from the tower. Conveniently, there is a hanging testicle-esque netted bag of hubcaps near the bad guys. He goes over, cuts it open, and starts playing what I deem the ultimate Frisbee game. He impales one dude with a hubcap that he throws into the hurricane. That's like, this is genius, you guys. That is all worth it. See, you said you thought that about like the bullets line, but make the movie around that. I think this is what the movie was made around. What if hubcaps could be ninja stars?
Yeah, but I like the idea of also it's controlled.
Right.
That the hurricane wouldn't like impale him, of course.
Right, of course not.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like if you crank up a treadmill to like max speed and then like step on it.
Just woo!
Oh, all right. The bad guys retreat. They drive out. Breeze fixes the backup generator as the power goes out. He tries to cut the soldiers from their cage, but the sexy hackers notice, and they turn the voltage back on for the electrified fence. She has to explain to Will that she can't give the code to the vault because they have to make sure the hostages stay alive.
That's why they're peeing in an underground tunnel, right?
It's got to be.
They just get out of the storm somehow in some huge underground tunnel, and they both get out to pee.
Yeah.
While they have this conversation.
Right. Totally normal. The sheriffs turn on the bad guys to steal the money for themselves. Perkins pops the main sheriff and promises the other sheriffs $20 million apiece if they stick with him. They've got themselves a deal.
Okay, so my question for here is, where did his 5 dudes come from all of a sudden? And then if this is always his plan, he is making his move way too fast. Like, the money isn't, they don't have the money yet. Right. There's nothing happening. He's like, all right.
He panicked, Maze. He was like, I got to get this in, right? I got to figure this out. Also, I looked up the female cop's name, the female sheriff's name in the movie, Deputy Diamond.
Nice.
It's a weird, it sounds like a stripper name, but
yeah.
Now they're negotiating to
have the right to remain erect.
Now they're negotiating to swap Casey for Breeze. They have this exchange. Where are you? We're at the mall. Which mall? There's only one mall in Gulfport. Got him, I mean. Got his ass. They set the sheriffs up. The brothers are speaking in football plays again. Talk about flea flickers. The whole thing is they tethered themselves in the mall, and when the pressure drops, Casey shoots out the glass ceiling. I asked if that's a metaphor. With a flare, everything gets sucked up into the sky from the pressure. They go up there and they become human kites.
Yeah, I'm back to sleep here.
Yeah, and then they pull themselves back down to the roof. It wasn't totally clear,
right? Or maybe it pressurized or something. It dropped, so they go down. Right? It's hard to tell. There's also like just an insane amount of debris flying at them. They avoid. They rappel down. Breeze manages to escape. We get back to the repair shop. They get a gun. They're eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Skippy and Smuckers.
Yeah, and so she asked, like, this is just it's just such an inane bit of banter between the two. She asks, is this Jif? And he says, no, I'm a Skippy guy. It's Skippy. She goes, Smucker Strawberry, though. And he says, Correctamundo. Why is that in there?
Did they get a check? I hope they got a check. But probably not.
It's, again, one of those things that in a good movie, we would have said, oh, that's a nice little... It's kind of... this is their... Big Mac's a Big Mac, but over there they call it Le Big Mac, or what do they call it?
Royale with cheese, right?
Yeah, quarter pounder cheese, Royale with cheese. What do they call a Whopper? I don't know. I didn't go to Burger King. Right. That's what that was their version of that.
So now she says she wants to take the fight to the bad guys with a homemade car bomb. Then kind of poetically talks about Timothy McVeigh.
Yeah.
And that he did it to a federal building.
Kind of impressed by Timothy McVeigh.
Almost glowingly. Right. Here's a little bit of history you'll love. Says she wants to use the Batmobile, aka the Dominator. That's what it's called, by the way, the Dominator. Wants to use that. As they're going to get supplies for the car bomb, a big wave crashes onto the land. It like capsizes this freighter ship. It's starting to flood the town. There's a note from IMDb. The storm surge, which floods New Hope, capsizes a large cargo ship. The size of the storm surge was taller than the ship itself. No hurricane has the power to create a storm surge that high and that powerful. There's another plot hole.
Then he just like washes up on the Dominator and starts laughing maniacally. I didn't really understand.
Yeah, so the bad guys caught them at the nursery because they noticed the Dominator, but then before anything can happen, the water comes crashing through. It kicks them out the back of the nursery. I wrote the note, everyone should drown here, maybe another plot hole. Will escapes. He gets washed up on the Dominator. Perkins captures Casey as she's floating away.
Right.
Breeze comes in a boat and rescues Will.
Somehow.
And now they're back to the Department of Treasury. Perkins threatens to shred Moreno.
Yeah.
Now that the power's back on, the sexy hackers look stressed at that thought. Casey gives Perkins the iPad. He still kills Moreno.
Where you gotta say where the iPad was though.
Oh, it was in the shredded money.
But then she says it was here the whole time.
No, she says it was here all the time. Doesn't she mean the whole time?
Right. It was here all the time.
What does that mean? It doesn't sound right.
So he still kills Moreno in the vault. Will and Breeze reconcile their differences as they drive in the eye of the storm to save Casey. And now we're getting away. Eye of the storm gives them their escape. The convoy with the money is getting away. The sexy hackers are in the last truck, and they're trying to fuck while they drive this semi-truck. Minutes after expressing that they're way too close to the storm, they just want to fuck. I mean, they can't wait to get out of there.
All that sexy hacking works up an appetite.
It does, man. It really does. So they drive up to the back of the third truck in a tow truck. Will jumps on. Breeze hilariously jumps on. Like, that's some of the worst stunt work I've ever seen.
God.
It is. I mean, it is real bad stunt work.
I rewound that a few times just to watch
same.
how glitchy that leap was.
It's so bad. They both miraculously climbed to the top.
Who chose this movie?
I did. What?
No, keep going.
Oh man. The sexy female hacker is riding the sexy male hacker in the truck when Will and Breeze break into it. They capture the sexy hackers. The angry bad guy starts fighting Casey. The driver gets shot. The truck is a runaway. Will takes over driving, and they just avoid crashing into silos, where I wrote the note, Fast and the Furious, Truckio drift.
Oh boy.
Unfortunately, that's wittier writing than anything in this movie, other than the bullet scene.
As Will is correcting the path of this truck, he's about to hit a bump, and he basically says, like, "Get ready, Casey." When they hit the bump, the bad guy goes flying in the air. She grabs the gun, almost in an Arya Stark fashion, shoots him, and kicks him out of the door, all in one motion. I don't understand. You fell asleep at this part?
I just don't think I was awake for it. I won't say I fell asleep at it.
Okay.
I just don't think I was awake for it.
They now have the two back trucks. They're now in a gunfight with Perkins. They shoot Perkins. They have him boxed in.
Suddenly the freeway is like 9 lanes wide, by the way.
It's really wide. They're going back and forth. And then they call a football play out to each other. They call the football play that they practiced back when their dad died.
Red Dog Omaha 22.
Red Dog Omaha 22.
Token ladder play.
And I wrote, is this a football play? Because they're just ramming the truck on the sides. Then they get ahead of them. Perkins is falling behind. They're swerving in front of him so he can't get ahead. Here comes the storm. This is the greatest death in movie history coming up. The storm pops open the cargo doors. The money goes flying out.
Yeah.
And he looks back out the window, like yells at the storm. Then it pops the cargo off the semi into the storm. It then into the sky. It then spits it back out, and it lands perfectly on the semi truck, and it explodes.
Like right where he is.
I wrote this is the greatest fucking hurricane movie ever.
If you haven't seen this movie, let me reiterate. He's driving an 18-wheeler, like a Big Mac truck, 18-wheeler. The trailer, the cargo part of the truck, is lifted very dexterously, I might add, by the hurricane up into the sky, Wizard of Oz style. It's gone. Where'd it go? And as he's leaning out the window, looking back at, like, where's my money, or whatever, this same trailer then gets dropped. It not only does it fall perfectly down, but it's straight up and down, perpendicular.
Straight up and down. Yeah.
Squashes him. Would have been the most hilarious death ever if it weren't for the dad dying in the opening game.
Breeze's truck starts falling apart. The engine starts falling apart. Will drops back to save him. Breeze jumps to safety and sacrifices the sexy hackers.
Another amazing jump.
Yeah, another amazing jump.
Casey, a woman, catches him with one hand by the neck of his jacket.
What's this? That's supposed to be Mace.
Oh, little misogyny, huh?
It sounds like Maze doesn't believe a woman can catch a man.
Exactly.
During a hurricane at full speed on a freeway from an 18-wheeler.
Wow. I guess we're far from equality, I mean. And then the storm skull is back. It roars in the rearview mirror. Never really explains that.
I have so many questions.
I wrote, is that an homage to The Mummy or to Jurassic Park?
It has to be The Mummy.
But also Jurassic Park.
Which one of Jurassic Park has a storm that screams?
No, it's the T-Rex in the rearview mirror.
Oh.
Is it the same storm, Zach? Is it the god of storms that Willie can smell?
So that's a good question. Like,
is it storm that's haunted this family their entire life?
Is it the librarian from Ghostbusters?
Like, was the storm satisfied and spared them because it took their dad, and that's why it doesn't kill them?
Has the storm been trying to kill these kids forever?
Is it Final Destination? I don't know.
I would like a spin-off of the storm.
A prequel, if you will.
Yeah. Hurricane Heist, the prequel.
It's just a storm and lots of therapy for killing some kid's dad and making them orphans.
Yeah, like I want to see it growing up and getting bullied in a school storm, right? Like I want to see the backstory of the storm, because why is it there? Why is the skull there? And then it just goes away.
He must have already had the technology from the Mummy. He must have already had the animation. He's like, let's just reuse it.
Now I'm not a synoptic meteorologist, right? I don't have a PhD like Will. But I feel like Category 5 hurricanes don't just disappear, because it vanishes.
He just accelerates a little bit, and then they're all good.
They're all good. The skull roars, and then it just goes away. Or, question, was the storm skull, protecting these kids all their life? Maybe the dad was abusive, and it killed them. It killed the dad, right? Or it was leading them to like a disappointment. He was trying to keep them from CTE, from playing too much football, right? Maybe it was trying to save them from the bad guys this whole time.
It's a benevolent hurricane.
Because it just like, ejaculates that cargo right on top of the bad guy.
That's the thing. Anything that came out of the storm's dick?
It was pretty low, wasn't it? It was pretty low. It's literally a money shot. Storm over, movie over.
And we don't know if she hooks up with one of them. Maybe she hooks up with both of them. Yeah. Maybe we get an Y Tu Mama Tambien situation down in Mexico.
Yeah.
Bro, I thought you meant like the. I was gonna go with Zoolander.
So a little knowledge about this. In the early 1990s, Sylvester Stallone was attached to star in a similar project called Gale Force, about an ex-Navy SEAL who defends a seacoast town from a gang of modern pirates during a hurricane. David Chappie had written the script, and Rennie Harlan was going to direct it. Had a $40 million budget, more than this one, back in the 90s. But creative disagreements over the script and concerns about the cost forced them to scrap the film, and instead they made Cliffhanger.
Yo.
I think it would have been better than Cliffhanger, and I like Cliffhanger.
See, here's my thing. $40 million budget, half of that was to Stallone.
Had to have been, yeah.
Right, like that's why it cost more.
Yeah, what did the actors command here? Maybe $7 million total?
No, I
gotta think $5 to Maggie Grace.
Oh my God, no.
No way she got $5 million to make this movie.
What?
Absolutely not.
She's in Fear of the Walking Dead. She was in the Taken movie. She can get $5 for this shit.
Hell no.
Not $5.
Hell
not
no.
$5.
Wow.
Not $5. No way. No way.
Toby Kebbell, maybe $2 million.
You're telling me like,
what?
Hold on. You're telling me that 1/6 of the movie's budget was just to her? Nah, man. Nah. Something that bothers me. The name of the movie is The Hurricane Heist.
The Hurricane Heist, right.
Which makes it sound a lot like Hurricane Heist is a cooler sound. The Hurricane Heist, it sounds like like a kid wrote it, part of like their a creative writing class in high school or middle school. The Hurricane Heist.
Also, in 1995, Stallone was involved to star in another similar film called No Safe Haven, in which he played a Marine who has to fight against militia-like cults who take over Martha's Vineyard and take the president's family as hostages during a large hurricane. And the only hope he has is the president, who managed to escape from cult members while they were taking over the island. But it was canceled very early in production.
And he made Judge Dredd instead.
In the trailer, viewers are told that the heist is planned during the monstrous hurricane that is pushing 600 miles an hour. The highest sustained wind speed ever recorded in a hurricane on Earth is 190 miles per hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other fun facts we have for hurricanes?
No, we just have a Tony Medley review. Not of this movie, though, sadly. But I can read one for Black Klansman if you'd like, which also came out in 2018.
Let me guess. He didn't like it.
That's a good guess. He gives it a 3 out of 10.
Of course.
Last week, I wrote that the movie The Spy Who Dumped Me could have been a good movie if they had made it as a thriller and forgotten the comedy. Similarly, this effort by director Spike Lee could have been a good comedy because if this is true and is based on former Colorado Springs detective Ron Stallworth's book of the same name, the Keystone Cops were alive and well in the Colorado Springs Police Department. Stallworth, played by John David Washington, is the first black detective in Colorado Springs Police Department in 1978. For some reason and on his own, he responds to the advertisement for people to become members of the KKK and gets a call back. Not being the brightest bulb in the universe, Stallworth gives his real name and establishes communication with the local Klan leader, Walter Breachway. He then suggests to the Colorado Springs police chief that he go undercover without setting forth a reason and without explaining a goal. Bridges, who's the police chief, for equally opaque reasons, reluctantly goes along with the idea. However, since he cannot be the undercover detective who has to personally interface with the local Klan because he's black, he suggests Adam Driver, who is Jewish, impersonates him in face-to-face movies. Yeah, that's a great idea. Have a local cop who could easily be recognized by someone in a group of lawless people who have probably already had problems with law enforcement and who hate Jews as much as they hate blacks, and a Jewish one, no less, try to impersonate a lawless bigot. But that's what the geniuses did. With plot holes galore, it goes from the ridiculous to the sublime. Stallworth continues to communicate by telephone with both Walter and eventually David Duke, who is the Grand Wizard of the KKK, while Flip, who is Adam Driver's character, makes all personal appearances with the hateful white supremacists who make up the local KKK. This is akin to the Keystone Cops taking on the Three Stooges and could have made a more effective screwball comedy. Unfortunately, Lee is polemist and wanted to tell the story as a serious drama and paint Stallworth as a hero, even though Lee himself admits that the story reminded him of a Dave Chappelle skit in which Dave Chappelle plays a blind man who joins the KKK without realizing that he isn't white. Eschewing cast aspersions at Stallworth's lame undercover efforts, Lee's main comedic points are the conversation between Duke and Stallworth, in which Ron makes Duke look like a fool, not a difficult task, because Duke thinks he's talking with a white bigot. I don't know if the film's end is accurate. I don't want to have to read Stallworth's book to find out, but I doubt its veracity because it has such a Hollywood ending that it seems contrived. Without the ending, the movie and what Stallworth and Zimmerman went through are meaningless because they accomplished exactly nothing except to survive. It's certainly not beyond Lee to make up the finale to lead credence and value to his film. The production notes are silent about the veracity of the ending. Naturally, being a left-wing activist, Lee has to bring Donald Trump and what happened in Charlottesville at the end of the movie, manipulating the context. In fact, relating to that part of the movie, the production notes Lee issued to critics state, audience surely will be entertained by Stallworth's inspirational life story, but the film also might just encourage some viewers to undertake the good fight. What? Lee wants viewers to be as foolish, bungling, and irrational as these Colorado Springs policemen were? What do you think the context is that he manipulated in Charlottesville?
And both sides played hard.
Both sides played hard. You think Tony voted for Trump?
Never meet your heroes.
All right, guys. Phobe or file? Amin, we'll start with you.
A very, very sleepy phobe.
Wow.
I mean, it was boring. There's a weird way that like an action-packed movie like that was boring. I mean, like I thought Hot Rod was boring, but even Hot Rod had more of like kind of. Maybe I don't know. I wish they explained a lot more stuff.
Amin thought about complimenting Hot Rod there and then decided not to.
Right, yeah, he thought himself. So you're going a sleepy phobe. I'm going file. I'm going file because I would absolutely watch this again. There are a couple action scenes I love. The hubcap death, I will always turn that on. If I know that's about to come on, I'll turn that on. The accents are hilarious. The final chase scene, I'm in on. The sexy hackers, like I'm in on. I like it. I'm a file on this one. Maze, you're the tiebreaker.
All right. Well, it was pretty boring most of the time, and then I was intrigued by the the storm face that was never explained. And then right at the end, I thought I was pretty into the last like chase scene for what it was. And then the abrupt ending just ruined it for me. So it's a phobe.
Wow. No!
The Mayes revenge tour continues.
Oh my God. See if I ever like another fucking movie you pick, Mayes. Let's see what happens.
I like 12 episodes into this podcast.
It's ruined. It's ruined. Now we're just being dicks to each other. We're not even evaluating the movies, we're just going against what the person picked.
It's like this week we review the movie The Godfather. Yeah, I just thought it was too long. I just thought it was way too long.
Too many Italians.
I didn't like the subtitles.
I don't think that's how the mob operates. I didn't find it to be realistic. I can't believe this.
This is great.
I don't think we're going to last. I really don't.
Every once in a while, a swordfish will come along to unite us.
Oh, God. All right. Someone better pick Travolta next week. Thanks for subscribing. As you know, this is now on the mailbag feed. It's free. Send it out to all your friends. Let them know that they can listen to this. Check out patreon.com/countthedings. We got new stuff going up there. We got new stuff to replace this coming off. Yes.
Really quick, for those of you that were at the live show in San Francisco, you guys got to see a very special on-stage live version of Cinephobe. We did a scene from, we did a couple of scenes actually from Swordfish. I don't know when the next live show is going to be. It's probably going to be after the new year, but don't miss out, especially if you love Cinephobe. It's really fun. We play clips from movies, and then we just roast them right there in front of you guys. So thank you for coming out to the live show in San Francisco. Next one that comes up, don't be on outside looking, and make sure you grab your tickets for that.
Yep. Follow me on Twitter at TalkHoops. Follow me at Darth Amin. Follow Anthony Mayes at Corn Puzzle. Follow Count the Dings. And again, tell your friends. And I can't wait to shit on the next Maze pick.